No, this session, it doesn't matter whether you are secondary or primary. We all deal with teenagers. We find teenagers in primary, and we have teenagers at home. So it's going to help you if you deal with your own teenagers at home. Because if you are a parent of teenagers, you understand what I'm going to do. Very, very important. And my number is that side. Please write it down and give me the feedback. I understand there's a form again that you can feedback. Yes, please. We always want to know how much, whether what you are saying is relevant, right? And I'm very, very conscious because my wife is here. So when your wife is here, you have to be very careful. In case after this you are asked, why did you say that? Right. The first thing, we are going to look at the brain of a teenager. Daniel S. says the teenager's brain is still under logical construction, meaning that the teenager's brain is still developing until around mid-20s, up to 25, is still developing. So as a teacher, you need to understand that so that when you're dealing with teenagers, you know that their brain is not yet fully developed. Right. Whereas with children who are less than 13 years, because teenagers, we're looking at someone who's about 13 to 19 years, thereabout. Right? And there's a part of the brain that is called amygdala, which is the alarm system of the brain. When a child, like standard 1, loses a pencil, a short pencil like this, those who are teaching standard 1, they know. That matters most to a standard 1. When the child has lost that pencil, you can't just dismiss it and say, it's fine, you find another one. The child is looking for that small pencil. He wants it. It's just stress to a child. Right. The nervous system is flooded with stress hormones, the heartbeat increases. Now, if you respond by yelling and punishment, you are making the situation worse. We are confirming to the child that they cannot trust us when they are facing some problems. Right. So we are saying, as a teacher, you must know better when you are dealing with teenagers. Whether you are dealing with teenagers at home or at school, you as an adult, you must know better that when a child is having problems, having tantrums, for instance, or anger is showing some anger issues, they are underlying issues which you need to address as a teacher. If you just address the symptoms and leave those underlying issues, the behavior is going to persist. They are actually craving for independence, most of the teenagers, and autonomy. You must understand that. It's not that they are giving you hard times. Teenagers are having hard times. Remember, they are going through a lot physically and emotionally. They are going through a lot. Those body changes that they undergo during puberty is a lot. It's confusing to a child. Right. So you must understand better as a teacher that the child is communicating something. So address the emotions first and guide. Regulate before you educate. You know, when you're a teacher and you still are that kind of a teacher who's too emotional, then you have a big problem. You're in the wrong field. As a teacher, you must be stable in as far as your emotions are concerned. Control them when you're dealing with kids. I was telling the other group that I don't know how many times students have. You see my bandana. I started teaching before this bandana is as big as it is now. You can't even see where it ends. I've been told several times by students, very young, saying, Mr. NN, you are lying. You are lying. Now, if your emotions are not controlled, what do? You hit against the wall, the roof, you come down, you boil, or even you slap that child. And if you are, if you're in English medium school, they will separate you from employment. Also failing to control your emotions. So when you are dealing with teenagers, make sure that you are stable in as far as emotions are concerned. Because they are going to try your patience, those guys. Right. Right. Teens don't hear your word, they read into it. They don't hear what you are saying. They read into it and attach meaning to what you are saying. Hello? Yes. Hello? Right. Just like when a woman says to you, you don't love me, how do men react? There's one man here. How do you react, man? When a woman says, you don't love me, sir, and you bought a Samsung phone a week ago, what do you say?
It's difficult. My wife is here.
Oh, yeah. That's intelligent, my man. Right. No, when a woman says that, usually a man will start reminding the woman, did I buy you a phone last week? You are not grateful. But the woman does not mean that you don't love her. She's saying, right now, I don't feel love. Show me that you love me. Nah. Let's forget about what? Your Samsung. I don't teach teenagers, all I teach even adults. So if you are not teaching primary, at least you must go with something home as you take home. Right. A well-intentioned feedback can be perceived as an attack to a child. A teacher can say, this is not your best work. You can do better than this. And then the teacher starts throwing the hands in the air. Whatever. What they hear, you have let me down. I'm not good enough. That's what they are hearing. So even good advice to a teenager is taken the other way around. Therefore, when you are criticizing them, here is the state the issue clearly without judgment. What happens when someone you are talking to someone, whether it's your spouse, and the first thing is to judge you. You don't do this, you don't do this, you don't do this. What happens to the person who's being judged? He goes to defensive. Mm-hmm. So the same applies with teenagers. If you start attacking them, they go to defensive. And the mind was designed in such a way that once you start attacking it, it goes to defensive mode. That's how the mind is. Right. So, firm belief in the teenager's ability. When you talk to teenagers, whatever you have said at the end of it all, don't forget this way. I know you are capable of doing better. I believe in you. You know, some of these comments that we put, do better, put more effort, don't help children. The child is already putting effort. Which effort should you use?
More effort.
What do you mean by more?
More effort.
And I want teachers here, because teachers I know, even parents, you always portray an image that you are the best student yourself. One day, if your student come across your PSLE results or your what you call this form 2 or so, that's when you stop smiling. Say, Mama, these are your results. So, reinforce the standard, offer support if needed. Effective feedback focuses on conversation and rather than confrontation. Teens feel empowered and supported when you do that. Then do more coaching and less lecturing. Teenagers don't like what we're doing right now. True or false?
True.
Because they are suffering from HDHD. What does it stand for?
ADHD.
I said
ADHD.
Attention deficit hyperactive disorder.
yes. And most of our kids are like that. Very impulsive. You introducing a topic today, we're going to do weathering. 4 or 5 questions, the hands are already up. What are you asking before I introduce?
What are you answering?
Listen first. Do you know that these kids of nowadays, if you don't stop them from asking questions, it will be questions from first period to the last period. So it's because they are having this one instant gratification that they get from video games. They get the results there and they enjoy that. So if you are dealing with teenagers, the first 30 seconds, we have only 1 minute to do that. First 30 seconds, like a robot, turns green. The teenager is paying attention. Second 30 seconds, the robot is turning yellow. The teenager expects you to wrap up. 1 minute, the teenager is switching off. You are still on introduction. You are talking alone.
So we really now.
Right? How to achieve that? Step in the teenager's shoes. If you want to succeed with kids, with teenagers, always step into their shoes. Understand from their own perspective. Right? I know you did do well in this because of, whatever. Right? Share your feelings, state your request, and your tone must convey love and concern. That's very important. Don't sound you are angry.
When they annoy me.
How to communicate with teens? Avoid too much eye contact. Too much eye. Hey, let me show this. Right? If you are confronting a teenager, and I have seen this in most cases, a teenager has committed something, and then the principal in most cases, sit aside. And then the principal is this side. The child is feeling intimidated by your face. True or false? Do you know that as men, we don't like confrontation? When men, you see that bench that side, that one is for men. Men like to sit like that, side by side. Women sit like this. When you get into where there are chairs and say go and sit, women will arrange this like this. Because they like face to face. But men, side by side. They don't like confrontation. So teenagers also don't like what? You'd rather be on the side or be doing something. Not opening eyes like this and why did you do this? Child will be scared. You want to swallow me or you want to swallow? Keep message short, more listening and less lecturing. Listening is always the first step to prevent disagreement from growing big. Don't focus on winning the argument. I've seen parents like that, teachers like that. You are focusing on winning the argument. You win the battle and lose the war. You as a parent, as a teacher, who knows better, you win the war, not the battle. So even if the child does something, you have a bigger picture. That's what you should be having, bigger picture. Not focusing on winning this. Right? Remember, stay calm. Regulate your emotions. When you're dealing with kids, you have to regulate emotions. I think teachers need more emotion training than anything else.
Frustrated by the principal.
Huh?
And counseling.
Yeah,
You're frustrated.
because teachers are sometimes so emotional. A child doesn't. It's better because in English medium school there's no beating. Some of us, I don't know even when I last beat a child. Control emotions. Right. And it is not thunder that makes crops to grow. It is rain. You don't need a long fire to burn a long snake. So regulate your emotions. Schedule time to speak. Don't just speak with teenagers. Sit here, I want to talk to you now. Remember, they need independence and autonomy. Schedule, can we talk about this later? I know I would meet resistance here because you are that kind of a teacher who belongs to God's school. Sit down here. You're not doing homework. I want to know the reason now. What happens to the child? He feels attacked. He withdraws. He switches off. You're now talking alone. Right. Yeah. Do not tear them down. Don't force them to talk. You know, sometimes you can say, no, I can see that you're not in good mood. Can we talk about this later? Can we talk about this later? Showing respect. Don't force them to talk. Sometimes a teenager will just have one word. I remember my boys when they were coming from school, they would have spent the whole term there. You want them to explain a lot, especially boys. How was your school term? Fine. That's the only authorized answer. Fine. What does fine mean? It's okay. Later, when the child is okay, then he can give you the details. There's what is called pre-hit, a principle, where you have to say good things before you bring what you want to bring to the child. Don't start by attacking. Why you do homework? Why are you feeling like this? Already the child feels attacked. Say nice things. I can see you are putting a lot of effort into your work. However, your results are like this. How can we help this situation? Right. Teens are more likely to internalize values when they feel respected, not when they are coerced. If you want your teens to improve their behavior, increase the number of positive interactions. Someone was saying, actually gave a ratio of saying, for every one negative thing, say 5 things, positive things, if you want to use. Even with us, adults, it's like that. How do you, if a principal calls you and start attacking you?
Exactly.
Attacking you. And then he says only one. Do you know that most people are negative oriented? They ignore the 90% that you are doing well and focus on the 10% that you are doing wrong. If you are a teacher, start with the 90%, then you bring your 10%. They're dealing with adults and students. Right, correct in private and praise in public. Our principal somewhere, he used to call himself a blaster. A blaster. You blast you anyway. And I said to myself, I told you, no, not with me, and blast me in public. If you want to talk to me, call me to your office, sit down, and then you talk with a calm voice. You're not talking to an adult.
Exactly.
But if you allow your teachers and then you start shivering, they will call you. Every time you go, you have to show respect to students. Where's with adults? Calm down. We are all co-workers there. If you're the owner of the school, I would understand. But even if you're the owner, you have no right to just attack like that. Right. Correct without embarrassing students. Because whatever you say, the children will carry it for life. I have a quotation that is 294, which talks about those suppressed emotions will always resurface when you feel love. You didn't get that one. Those emotions that you suppress when you are still at school, where you are a teenager. When you get married now, you are feeling love, isn't it? Those things that you suppress, the anger and the thing, they come out. So in other words, the person that will now face those consequences is what? Is the new wife, the new husband. You are suffering because of the damage that was done by a teacher inside and one. You are suffering as the new husband. Because of the love, now you feeling the heart. Those things that you suppress are coming out. You can't shame your teen into changing into better. Labeling is disabling. Focusing too much on academics. Truth be told, we want results, guys. Especially in English medium schools. We are in trouble. 100%. 100% coming from where the students can't read. This child cannot read, sir. And we are talking of 100%. In this school, 100%. From where?
We wanted to know.
And is it fair for everyone to be 100% getting A's? No. Even a school that is getting that, myself, I have a question mark for that. Because there's John who's having this challenge. There's Peter there who's having this challenge. How does he get the A? And being number one in class, does it mean number one in life?
No.
Do you know that many people who are hustlers are doing better than us who are putting on ties? You are putting on a tie, you are hungry, you are broke. There's someone who's hustling now. They are better off. Even those who are not doing well when they were still at school, they are now living better lives than us. Right. So we are saying, celebrate the team's effort rather than the achievement. Don't be emphasized, I want A's here. Encourage them to do well. Put the effort. Focus on what the teams can control. Don't focus on outcome, grades, and awards. Grades do not define their well-being. It's always about putting your best effort to learn. Most of the students who are committing suicide is because of the pressure from the parent, pressure from the teacher, pressure from the principal. They want good results. From when? You know, when my son was receiving results, before he received the results, I cancelled him because I could see that he was stressed. Do you know that the fact that the children are writing PSLE, even with adults here, if we just say after this presentation we're writing a test, What happened to your PP? Your sugar level, what does it mean?
They will all rise.
Chest pain start. Isn't it? Now, I get worried sometimes when we are in, is it third week now? Since we opened. We are already writing CA. Psyche test. Psyche test, what have you taught teacher that you are testing? Psyche test 1, already, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Too much emphasis on academic. Yes, we want good results, but life is not about results. It's not about that. Right. So there are things that your child cannot control, the output, getting A in examination. But emphasize complete revising 2 papers a day. The child can do that and control. It's within his powers. Win the game. A child you cannot just go and win the game. What if he meets someone who is talented more than him or her, or who practices even more? And then I want medals here. There are schools that you are going for to play another school, they bring medals. The only language that you understand here is medals. So I is the one who's playing. Give distributive praises that will make them focus on the process. I saw you putting in many hours of hard work to prepare for examination. Keep it up. Direction is more important than just focus on values. Then personal development. How many of you have trained 20 years ago? Or more than 10 years ago? At 20 years, people will lift up their hands. 10 years ago, you trained 10 years ago? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are very few. I'm one of those who trained some years ago. As you can see, my bandana says it all. How much of what you learned 20 years ago is still relevant now, teacher? Is there anything relevant?
No.
So you cannot be basing on those old theories to teach a child of the 21st century. You have to keep learning, adjusting. Learn and relearn and unlearn. Anything that is not like that is dead on arrival. Dead on arrival. So, sins are attracted to teachers who grow. Because if you are not informed, you'll be deformed. If you are not inspired as a teacher, you'll inspire. Because education is key to transformation. Those who know rule over those who don't know. For 80% of what we learn is useless when we graduate. I was doing special education. The emphasis was on after graduating, you are going to teach in special schools, blah, 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 blah. Then when we graduated, the system has changed. They said it's now inclusive education. What we were learning was now useless when we graduated. After every 5 years in the new world, true or false? True. During COVID time, 2019, no one was talking about sanitizing, the social distancing, blah, blah, blah. Now that phase is past. We are in another year. So nothing stays the same. In the medical field, you don't renew your license until you display what they call CPD, Continuous Professional Development. I wish they could do that with teachers. Before they renew a license, what have you learned in the past 5 years? What new skills have you learned? You can't be saying, me, I did in 1992. I did my degree in 1992. It's no longer relevant, ma'am. Right. Knowledge is competitive advantage. You lose respect due to ignorance.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to contribute on that one of CPD.
Yeah.
I've seen the new education page, they are professionalizing teaching. It's one of it's better.
Yes.
When it's effective.
Yeah. What have you learned in the past 5 years, 10 years as a teacher? Where have a degree? What degree? Yes, expired, man. Right. A child loses respect when he asks you about the current thing. Even the careers of nowadays, they are careers of the 21st century, which you should know as a teacher. You can't be saying, I'm going to nursing. Nursing is expired. 60% of medicine is expired. Right. So a child comes to you, ask, tell me about robotics. Z. Teacher, tell me about animation. See. But now when they mention Ronaldo, Ronaldo, I know Ronaldo. We bought him last year for 4.5. He's now playing for our team. Teacher, have relevant knowledge. It's okay to know about Mbappe or Ronaldo or Messi, but also know about the current careers. And most of the parents, we are sending our kids to go and do expired courses. Went to medicine, China, went to engineering, went to this and that. Have you really researched, are those the careers of the 21st century? Right. Teachers are no longer fountains of knowledge, like what we used to do. The teacher is the only one who knows. Children are versatile to be filled. It's no longer the case. Nowadays, children, because of they have what is called artificial intelligence, they know more than we do. They are more connected. They know more. The only difference between you and them is that you, when it comes to social intelligence and emotional intelligence, you are far ahead of them. But when it comes to such knowledge, there's a child in Zimbabwe who got 54 points A level. You didn't hear me that. You didn't hear that. 54 points at A level, doing about 12 subjects. How was the child able to do that? Because of what? As a teacher, you can't do all those subjects at A level. A level, you know how challenging it is. Not much fun. Right. So embark on continuous learning as a teacher. Rules for teens. When you are setting rules for teenagers, or even students at primary level, you have to involve them so that they also have their input, especially on what can be done when you break the rules. Listen to their concern. Don't micromanage them. Empower them to take ownership of their lives. When teens feel heard, they are more likely to respect boundaries and rules and take ownership of their action. Teens are more likely to internalize values and rules when they feel respected, heard, not when they are coerced. That's Dr. Lawrence time. Be consistent. Be consistent as a teacher, as a parent. If you want your kids to follow your rules that you have done, be consistent in enforcing them. Your no today must be a no tomorrow. Because if you allow it today, tomorrow, you don't allow it, you are confusing students. Because students thrive on routine and consistency. Actually, unpredictability is the enemy of discipline. Your no today should be your no tomorrow. Right. Respect is not demanded. It is demonstrated through your consistency. And your teens will respect you if you are consistent, and if you are competent, and you are caring. I want to emphasize competent. A teacher who's competent, teachers must be competent. You cannot be that kind of a teacher now who's teaching students and you are reading from the textbook word for word. You are doing examples of demonstrating, teaching maths, and you are copying the formulas on the board. You come, you write. You have been teaching for 10 years, more than 10 years. You are still referring to textbook word for word. Students are not going to have faith in you. Truth to be told. Even yourself, when you go to a doctor, and then you get to the doctor starts opening files. Wait, let me get to the story. Then he brings files, opening like that. I want to check whether it's diabetes type 2 or... Will you go to that doctor? Or to a mechanic? The mechanic says, no, let me consult the books first. I did this in college in 2001. You won't have faith. So we are saying, when you are teaching teenagers, you must be competent. Know your knowledge. Know what you are teaching and know it very well. Your knowledge must be in your fingertips. Then they are going to respect you as a teacher. Not a teacher who will be written every time. Right. Fire is consistent when burning. Fire does not care whether they are wearing diapers or whatever. It burns you. Whether they are old, you are sick, it burns. That's why people respect it. So when you are a teacher, also be consistent. Don't be like weather. Today you are cold, tomorrow you are hot. No. Right. Don't try to change everything. Focus on the main thing. You know, we have a problem with students, especially these days. when it comes to things like hairstyles. Our hairstyles during our times were just chisco. Remove everything. Even now, when I go to sometimes I tease them and say, I want postcard. Then they say, postcard way here. Postcard. But nowadays, we have all sorts of hairstyles. Coiled hair, the other one like this, that is the time for that. You can't find that. One day I called a parent when I saw a child with a very funny hairstyle. I called her, I want you here. The parent came. When I saw the parent from afar, yeah. When I saw the parent from afar, I said, sir, good morning. I will be father, sorry, so. I changed the statement saying, your child is not doing well in academics. Change the story. Because his father was worse. You call the mother and say, this child is wearing a short skirt. And then when you call the mother, is wearing something that is... Do you continue with the agenda? No. Change. Okay, that's fine. Your child, but he's not writing corrections. Right. So we are saying, love letters. I've seen one student in my class last year had an affair with a student in the next class. So the teacher came fuming. He said, this child, in your chat in my class is having an affair with my child. We must call the parents. I said, Mama, leave me alone. I don't involve myself in such things. I am not saying just encourage them to do that. Do you know our principal one time was called the parents? This girl was seen kissing, hugging boys outside the school gate. They called the parents. And then the principal said, your child, this is what your child is doing after school. The parent told the principal standing teeth that your duty as a school is to teach. Leave my child what? Alone. And you have just paid, you are writing letters. Keep your main thing. Your main thing is to teach. Leave them, especially in English medium school. If your school does not have a policy that talks about their style and dressing, leave the kids alone. You can't win the argument. You're just giving yourself BP for nothing. Right. This child that had an affair, when they were having this, what you call this one, where they prom. During that time when they came, this boy, the parents, actually he was staying with the auntie. The auntie hired a nice car. They brought these cars when they it's called motor cars. When they are accompanied like the minister or the president. It was like that. The whole school came to a standstill, making noise. This boy in my class was there. This girl next door was also there. They were standing, the two of them, like this. And then I went there. And then the auntie, when they were alighting from the car, the auntie said, don't leave your bride behind. Don't leave your what? Your bride. You have been saying, why I stop this, I stop this. It's coming from home. Yes. If focus keep the main thing, they will feel, when you try to correct everything, they feel targeted, attacked. And then connect before you correct. Very important. I don't know how my wife does it. If there was time, I was going to ask them to say, please can you tell others how you connect with the parents? She has a gift of connecting with the parents. Big time. Sometimes first week they will be fight, but as time goes on, they will be like this. A skill of connecting with the parents. Connect and bond with the parents. And the students. Your student must accept you as their teacher. Right. Because you can't communicate without relationship. Yeah, you can't give rules without relationship. Connecting makes discipline easy. Authority is not force or control, but trust and respect. And then the other most important thing that I want to talk about is dressing. Dressing. Hey, this is garlic, please. It's not concoction, please. This presenter brought me Muti. Right. Dress well to command respect. When you're a teacher, you have to dress well. This is a noble profession. Some of you might have come to this profession because you are looking for employment. But when you get into it, dress like a teacher. So that your students can accept you as your teacher. You cannot be wearing slippers when you gas. Pata, pata, when you gas. And if apply perfume. If you buy these ones, the cheap ones, during break time, resuscitate it, revive it, so that you smell. You can't get into the classroom and the first thing that the students are wearing are armpits. No. No ways. Wear, dress nicely. Right? A fine teacher does not beg for authority. He wears it. When there's a parents' meeting, I put on a suit. I take my suit to dry clean. I don't want my parents to take me for granted. Yes. Think that this is a head boy or they can hire me to cut grass. I dress smartly. Because if you don't dress smartly, your parents and your naughty students will take you for granted. Right. Dress like someone who deserves respect, and respect will follow you. Teenagers address you the way you dress, or even parents. I got embarrassed one day. I went to the market, and then this teacher came where we were, and this boy was shouting, "Teacher, teacher, teacher, teacher!" And I looked at the teacher from head to toe. There was nothing that showed that he was a teacher. We are saying whether you are going to the, maybe because some of us trained in the old school. When you are going for shopping, even during weekend, look smart as a teacher. You meet the students at the mall. And then how do they introduce you to their parents? The hair is like this and and you are going to the mall.
It's a weekend.
Children are not going to introduce you. But when you are smartly dressed, they will smile. This is my teacher, Mama. Meet my teacher. Is Mrs. So-and-so. They are looking at you because you are dressed like a teacher. They become proud. They can even say, "Teacher, can we take a photo?" But if you are... Right. So it is not for fashion alone. It is part of your authority. Your dressing speaks before you speak. Introduce yourself. Last week I was presenting at our school on a staff development, and then as I was going to the wall, there's this combi which was carrying students from another school. They didn't know me, so they were just waving, saying, "Hello, principal." And I just smiled. Why? Why? I am not saying blow your salary on clothes. Don't blow your salary. But we are saying whatever you are putting on, it must be presentable. Right. It's not about teaching lessons. It is also about how you appear when you are teaching. Right. If your dressing and your character are as important as your lesson plan. Right. Teachers who dress carelessly are often taken for granted by parents and students. To activate others, be activated yourself. I still remember some of the teachers who taught me at primary, even the secondary. How? Because they were live. I am yet to see teachers who sleep during my presentation. I'm yet to see. I'm even looking around to see someone like this. No matter how hot, I conduct a workshop and teachers sleep. If you see yourself sleeping, it's either you're too old or you're too sick. Right. So we are saying, when you're a teacher, you must be an active teacher. There's a video where I was coming out, I had an assembly last week. I was dancing with my kids. At my age, go down, I go down. Because I know me, I can't go down. Especially in primary school, you have to go down with them, teach them, show them. That's what they want. Energy, they like energy, these students. Right. The students feel your energy, storytelling, experiments, games, and the like makes learning unforgettable. Use and embrace technology. to teach smarter and communicate faster and engage deeper. Adaptability is the superpower of the teacher. Don't still skiing on lecture method, writing on the board. Be smart. Use the internet. Avoid teaching by reading from textbook. And then, if you don't know the law, if you don't have the law, or if you have the law on your side, hammer the law. If you don't have the facts, if you have the facts on your side, hammer the facts. If you neither have the law nor the facts, hammer the table. Because you have nothing to say. Hammer the table. Right. So what am I saying? I'm saying, as a teacher, know your stuff very well and deliver it with eager vitality and umfu. Don't be that kind of a teacher who's sitting down and teaching while you're sitting down. You can't be active. Move around. Right. Nothing destroys respect faster than confusion. Be an enthusiastic teacher. A teacher who lacks enthusiasm never develops it in the students because enthusiasm is contagious. Our lecturer used to say enthusiasm, said enthu when I'm talking about enthusiasm. Your success as a teacher is made out of your passion. Are you passionate about your job? Do you like your job? Because if you are already into this field, you just have to be passionate. You have no choice. Right? You have to have that hunger of delivery, excellency, and mastery of your content. Right? I have here I'll just run through them quickly. Effective confrontation and how to confront your student. Do it in private. Protect that dignity of the team. Do it as soon as possible. Not a child commits a crime today, then next week. We now have a hearing. No. Stick to one issue at a time. Right? Once you have made a point, don't keep repeating it. You remember last week? Remember last week you did this? Even with married people. What happens when your wife is asking you, you remember last year? Or when we were getting married, your mother didn't eat. 2000, Mama, you're still asking me. Right? Or avoid these phrases. You always. Or you never. Are they familiar? Yes. You never do this. They make you to be, don't forget to compliment and confront. Compliment and confront. Present criticism as a judgment. Listen, do not judge. Connect before you correct. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your questions. My number is there, please. If you have some specific questions, do so. I'll try to endeavor to send some of you what your